I'm Muhammed Hamdan and this is Nightline, the top stories. MACC seizes 170 million ringgit in foreign currency in graft probe involving Ismail Sabri. And Ramadan bazaar goers more cautious with their spending. Good morning. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has confirmed an ongoing investigation into allegations of corruption and money laundering involving former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob. Authorities have seized various foreign currencies amounting to 170 million ringgit, along with 16 kilograms of pure gold valued at nearly 7 million ringgit, which were confiscated from his residence and 3 other locations believed to be safe houses. In a statement, the MACC said the investigation is focused on the expenditure and acquisition of funds for promotional and publicity purposes during Ismail Sabri's tenure as Prime Minister. The probe is being conducted under the MACC Act and the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act. As part of the investigation, Ismail Sabri was ordered to declare his assets under Section 36(1) of the MACC Act on December 11th last year. The official declaration was made on February 10th. Following new intelligence and surveillance findings, the MACC detained 4 senior officers who served under Ismail Sabri. Subsequent investigations into these individuals led to inspections at the former Prime Minister's residence and 3 other premises suspected to be used as safe houses. During the search operations, MACC officers seized a significant amount of foreign currencies, including Thai baht, Saudi riyal, British pound sterling and euro, totaling 170 million ringgit. Additionally, gold bars worth nearly 7 million ringgit was confiscated. The MACC has also confirmed that Ismail Sabri had appeared at its headquarters to provide a statement on February 19th. He may be called in again if further investigation is required. The Commission has also identified nearly 10 witnesses who will be summoned in the near future to assist with the investigation. On another matter, the MACC has never discriminated against any party when conducting investigations. Its chief, Tan Sri Azam Baki, asserted that anyone suspected of being involved in corruption, regardless of whether they're politicians or journalists, will be investigated accordingly. Azam was commenting on the arrest of a journalist from an online media portal for allegedly soliciting a bribe from a foreign worker agent. He said the MACC has strong grounds to believe that the journalist was involved in corruption after 20,000 ringgit in cash was found in his possession. He further stressed that under anti-corruption laws, it is clear that anyone who accepts a bribe in exchange for performing or refraining from an action is committing an act of corruption. Previously, past Secretary-General Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan called on MACC to prioritise investigations into allegations of corruption involving foreign worker agents and immigration officers at the country's entry points, rather than detaining the journalists who reported on the issue. The Kota Baru Member of Parliament said the arrest of the journalist who exposed the smuggling of foreign workers was unusual and raised questions. It was reported that the journalist was remanded for 4 days for allegedly soliciting and receiving a 20,000 ringgit bribe in exchange for taking down an article and ceasing further reporting on a foreign worker agency allegedly linked to a syndicate. The Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry has launched Ops Pantau 2025, which is being implemented across the country beginning Sunday. The move aims to ensure price stability and sufficient supply of essential goods throughout Ramadan and leading up to Aidilfitri. Its Minister Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali said the operation aims to enforce compliance among traders with the laws enforced by the ministry. Additionally, it seeks to ensure the steady availability of key essentials such as sugar, chicken, eggs, cooking oil, wheat flour, rice, as well as ingredients commonly used for festive treats. Traders are reminded not to increase prices beyond the limits set under the festive season maximum price scheme for Aidilfitri, which will be announced soon. To enhance monitoring efforts, the ministry will deploy its Squad Tindakan Aduan dan Resolusi Pengguna or STAR Squad, along with patrol vehicles and motorcycle units to key consumer hotspots including Ramadan bazaars, Aidilfitri markets, public markets and supermarkets. Consumers are advised to avoid panic buying and to purchase controlled goods based on actual needs to ensure adequate supply for the people. Subsidized local white rice BPT priced at 26 ringgit per 10 kilogram pack has entered the Terengganu market. The supply was delivered to 2 grocery stores in Kuala Terengganu, with each receiving an initial batch of 30 sacks based on purchase orders. The 2 premises were able to receive their supply of BPT earlier as they had placed orders with suppliers last month.
Hari ini sampai 30 beg saja. Untuk hari sebab baru pertama kali dekat sini, mungkin penduduk sini tak tahu lagi harga sekarang ni. Sebab kalau ikutkan harga paling rendah dah. Mungkin lepas ni kalau orang dah tahu mungkin agak lajulah.
However, vendors are limited to selling a maximum of 2 sacks per customer as mandated by the government to prevent misuse, particularly by restaurant owners. For the targeted groups, the initiative provides much-needed relief, providing aid to those with financial constraints by allowing them access to rice at a lower price.
Syukur Alhamdulillah dengan adanya kembali beras ni untuk golongan B40 macam ke saya ni bersyukur. Sebelum ni saya beli beras yang 5 kilo saja.
Mana Alhamdulillah, syukur Alhamdulillah, mana rakyat boleh rasa barang murah dan barang beras dekat tempatan yang sibuk-sibuk tak ada beras anu ni. Sekarang ni dah beras ada tempatan ada dah. Mana kita pakai gunalah dengan harga pun murah. Mana kerajaan membantu untuk rakyat.
It is understood that the State Rice and Paddy Regulatory Division is actively working to ensure that BPT supplies are distributed across all districts soon. Now, as Ramadan bazaars reopen across Malaysia, food prices remain a major concern. The rising cost of ingredients has forced traders to either adjust their prices or reduce portion sizes. This has left customers weighing their options, with many either cutting back on purchases or seeking more affordable alternatives. Nightline's Muhammad Azfar reports.
Ramadan bazaars have long been a must-visit destination for breaking fast, offering a wide variety of traditional and modern dishes alike that attract large crowds every evening. From savoury delicacies to sweet desserts and refreshing drinks, these bazaars showcase a rich blend of flavours that capture the essence of the Muslim fasting month. However, many bazaar goers are becoming more cautious with their spending this year, carefully selecting their food items to manage their expenses.
Ada yang kita tak masak tu, untuk kita tambah-tambah tu kita belilah sikit. Tapi rasanya harga tu macam tinggi sikit lah, mahal sikit lah berbanding sebelum ni kan. Kena bersukat-sukat kan lah, kena bajet kan lah kan.
Kalau kita ada extra duit, kita akan beli untuk makanan yang sweet ataupun makanan yang apa orang cakap dessert dia lah. And then of course tiap-tiap tahun makanan harga akan naik. So pada saya kita ukur di badan sendiri lah. Agak kita ada kemampuan nak beli makanan yang kita mampu, kita beli. Kalau tak mampu, kita beli barang yang kita mampu.
Meanwhile, for the vendors, some have opted to keep their prices unchanged from last year in an effort to attract more customers and boost sales.
Saya buat masa ni tak naik lagi. Rugi tu tidaklah, tapi adalah sikit untung. Adalah sikit gaji. Kalau saya naikkan harga tak laku. Sedangkan macam ni harga RM6 sepaket macam ni pun diorang kata dah mahal. Saya nak buat macam mana lagi?
Buat masa ni saya masih kekalkan harga lama. Tapi kalau terpaksa saya kena naik. Buat saya terasa minyak masak memang payah nak dapat bekalan.
Although the cost of raw materials has risen, Ramadan bazaars remain a cherished tradition, bringing communities together to enjoy the festive delicacies. Despite these challenges, both vendors and customers continue to find ways trying to adapt and balance affordability with the spirit of Ramadan. I'm Muhammad Asfar for Nightline TV3.
The Employees Provident Fund (EPF) has effectively fulfilled its role in generating strong dividend returns, outperforming other savings platforms in Malaysia. According to the Union Network International Malaysia Liaison Council (UNI-MLC), a higher dividend rate will boost contributors' confidence in EPF as the nation's primary retirement savings institution. In a statement on Sunday, UNI-MLC President Dr. Muhammad Shafi BP Mamal said the announcement will encourage more voluntary contributions among EPF members for their long-term benefit. He added that the EPF currently remains the primary platform for members to rely on for better returns. UNI-MLC also believes that EPF will continue enhancing its investment capabilities to generate better returns for the benefit and interest of its members. On Saturday, EPF announced a 6.3% dividend rate for both conventional and Sharia savings for 2024, the highest in 7 years. It also marks the first time the Sharia savings dividend has equaled the conventional rate, reflecting the resilience of Sharia-compliant investments. Meanwhile, according to Malaysian Islamic Youth Movement ABIM President Ahmad Fahmi Muhammad Samsudin, the 6.3% EPF dividend for Sharia savings can raise awareness about Sharia-compliant investments among Muslims in the country.
Ini secara tak langsung menunjukkan bahawasanya pencapaian kadar dividen yang setanding dengan apa yang ditawarkan oleh pihak konvensional secara tak langsung memberikan satu isyarat dan signal bahawasanya pelaburan patuh syariah juga mampu untuk memberikan pulangan yang amat kompetitif dan juga kecekapan pihak KRSP dalam menguruskan dana syariah.
Moving on, a 52-year-old woman was killed and 4 others were injured in a 2-vehicle collision in Kluang, Johor. The accident occurred at kilometre 86, Jalan Kota Tinggi, Kluang at about 7 a.m. Investigations indicate that the car carrying 4 passengers had lost control and veered into the opposite lane before colliding head-on with a vehicle driven by a 39-year-old nurse. The victim, Zaitun Mat Resad, who was a rear seat passenger, suffered severe head and facial injuries before being pronounced dead at the Encik Besar Hajah Kalsum Hospital. The 4 other victims, including the drivers of both cars, sustained injuries and were sent for treatment at the same hospital. According to Kluang District Police Chief ACP Bahrin Muhammad Noor, the case is being investigated under Section 41(1) of the Road Transport Act for reckless driving resulting in death. And over in Pulau Pinang, a family of 7 narrowly escaped death when their Toyota Innova skidded off the road and crashed into an electric pole along the Tun Dr. Lim Chong Yu Expressway early on Sunday morning. All the victims, including 4 children, sustained injuries in the crash that occurred as they were making their way home after having sahur. According to a Pulau Pinang Fire and Rescue Department spokesman, an emergency call was received at 1:56 a.m. and a fire engine from the Jalan Perak Fire and Rescue Station was immediately dispatched to the scene. Firefighters found a single vehicle involved in the crash with 3 adults aged between 20 and their 40s trapped in the vehicle. Meanwhile, 4 children sustained minor injuries. Rescue personnel used specialized equipment to free the 2 men and a woman who were trapped. Injuries sustained included a broken arm as well as head and abdominal injuries. All the victims were successfully extricated by 2:54 a.m. and transported to Pulau Pinang Hospital for treatment. On his face and body after a gas cylinder in the kitchen of his house exploded. The boy was alone in his home in Kampung Berungis during the 2 p.m. incident. The Tuaran fire station received an emergency call at 2:22 p.m. However, upon arrival, firefighters found out that the boy had already been taken to the hospital by members of the public. Firemen then carried out checks on the gas cylinder, electrical appliances and some wiring to eliminate any other hazardous elements. Authorities suspect a leak in the gas cylinder pipe and sparks from a nearby refrigerator could have triggered the explosion. Investigations on the actual cause of the incident was still underway. Marc Marquez completes Thai GP clean sweep. Sports after this breather.
Ramadan macam tak lengkap je kalau tak tengok drama dekat TV3 kan? Jom indahkan memori dengan drama menarik minggu ini.
Anak ni perhiasan rumah tangga.
Awak punca saya tak ada anak tau.
Awak nak satu Malaysia tahu yang anak kita mengandung luar nikah.
Boleh tak? Mia tinggal dengan An.
Orang tak percaya aku.
Tak percaya Mia.
Apa yang awak buat ni?
Saya merasa campur.
Ini antara saya dengan mak saya.
Dengan cara berkeras macam ni. Awak fikir ini caranya?
Salam Ramadan. Indahkan memori di TV3.
Dulu saya tak tahu sukan ni apa, tak tahu main. Tiba-tiba masuk dalam kelab, excited. Lompat sana, lompat sini. Saya nak jadi macam bapak saya.
Bagi saya, dia kopi saya 100%. Memang ada benda yang saya buat dulu, sama je dia buat sekarang.
Di sinilah peristiwa berdarah pembunuhan beramai-ramai parit sulung telah berlaku.
Lieutenant Ben Hackney telah membuat pengakuan di Mahkamah Antarabangsa dan kemudian barulah satu pasukan daripada Australia cuba mencari kesan kegagalan daripada peristiwa tersebut.
KPDN bongkar stor produk tiruan Grade A Petaling Street.
Tengok material dia ni, dia punya lembut dia lain, tapak dia pun lain.
Pelancong jadi sasaran, ancam reputasi negara.
Barang tiruan takkan bagi balik. Kita akan lupuskan, hancur-hancurkan, koyak, masuk mesin hancur.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Siapa-siapa yang ada meminta kepadaku, maka aku akan berikan kepadanya. Amalan yang dianjurkan dalam hadis yang dikeluarkan oleh Abu Daud dibenarkan dalam mazhab Syafi'i. Sesungguhnya aku hendak menjadikan seorang khalifah di atas muka bumi. Saksikan Al-Kuliah setiap Khamis jam 5 petang hanya di TV3.
Malaysia hari ini sepanjang minggu.
Ramadan Al-Mubarak kini kembali atur pengurusan masa. Semoga amalan dan ibadah seimbang.
Terap kencing di waktu malam, apakah punca dan rawatannya?
Isu kahwin campur dengan pasangan luar negara, cinta tanpa sepadan mengundang cabaran.
Jika berlaku insiden tercekik, ketahui teknik pertolongan cemas bagi membantu mangsa.
Bijak membeli di bulan Ramadan, atur kehendak dan keperluan.
MSI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 10 pagi, juga stream di aplikasi Tonton.
Hanya di TV3.
Hai Syira, kenapa harus bersangka buruk?
Mungkin kita kena lebih berhati-hati.
Apakah antara menu berbuka yang popular?
Banyak aneka lauk pauk.
Nilai adab tinggi harganya.
Semua benda perlu ada batasnya.
Soal rezeki ni kan, masih lagi ada yang tidak memahaminya.
Hakikatnya rezeki tidak hanya datang dalam bentuk wang ringgit tetapi dalam pelbagai bentuk.
Kehebatan wanita tidak perlu dipertikaikan.
Kami bawakan kepada anda Hari Wanita Antarabangsa.
Semuanya di WHI TV3
dan stream sekarang di Tonton.
Wanita hari ini.
Welcome back. Sports, the 2025 Thai MotoGP. Six-time world champion Marc Marquez won the season-opening race on Sunday to complete a dominant debut weekend at his new factory Ducati team, having also rummed to Saturday's sprint. The Spanish great took the 26-lap Grand Prix by 1.732 seconds for his 63rd MotoGP victory from younger brother Alex Marquez, who is still seeking a first checkered flag, with Francesco Bagnaia third. It completed a perfect weekend for Marquez, who took pole position, the sprint victory and a Grand Prix win for a maximum 37 points to open the 22-leg 2025 campaign. He led from pole in stifling heat at Buriram and opened a comfortable 1.5-second lead over his younger brother by lap 7, when he suddenly slowed on turn 3 to lose the lead. Franco Morbidelli was fourth and Japanese rookie Ai Ogura fifth on his MotoGP debut. Turning to football, the English FA Cup, teenager Nico O'Reilly struck twice as Manchester City came from behind to beat plucky Plymouth Argyle 3-1 in the fifth round. The Premier League champions were stunned as Maxim Talivirov headed the championship strugglers into a shock 38th minute lead at the Etihad Stadium. Yet, any hopes the Pilgrims may have had of extending their unlikely cup run after surprise wins over Brentford and Liverpool was snuffed out by O'Reilly. The 19-year-old, operating as a makeshift left-back, headed an equaliser before the break and then repeated the feat 14 minutes from time. Kevin De Bruyne cemented City's place in the quarter-finals with their third goal in the last minute. City's eventual victory was no surprise, given their near-total domination of play, but Plymouth's stubbornness in defence was to be applauded. The German Bundesliga now, Bayer Leverkusen crushed Eintracht Frankfurt 4-1 to cement their hold on second place in the standing. Leverkusen took the lead after 26 minutes when Nathan Teller unleashed a fine low drive that found the corner of Frankfurt's net. Nordi Mukiele doubled the lead 3 minutes later from a corner kick before Patrick Schick made it 3-0 in the 33rd minute, finishing off an accurate pass from Alex Grimaldo. Ugo Ekitike pulled one back for Frankfurt 8 minutes before interval following some poor defending, just for Alex Garcia to put the result beyond doubt for Leverkusen midway through the second half, sealing a 4-1 win with a stunning volley from outside the penalty area. With the win, Leverkusen strengthened their grip in second spot with 53 points, 8 points behind leaders Bayern Munich. And moving on to tennis, the Dubai Championship, Stefanos Tsitsipas won his maiden ATP 500 title, beating Felix Auger-Aliassime in the final. He took just under 90 minutes to beat the in-form Auger-Aliassime, who has won 2 titles already this season, 6-3, 6-3. It was a case of third time lucky for the Greek, who had lost the final in Dubai to Novak Djokovic in 2019 and Roger Federer 12 months later. The victory will see Tsitsipas return to the top 10 in the world rankings. Thousands flee after Japan's biggest wildfire in decades. The details when Nightline returns.
Dulu saya tak tahu suka ni apa, tak tahu main. Tiba-tiba masuk dalam kelab, excited. Lompat sana, lompat sini. Saya nak jadi macam bapa saya.
Bagi saya, dia kopi saya 100%. Memang ada benda yang saya buat dulu, sama je dia buat sekarang.
Di sinilah peristiwa berdarah pembunuhan beramai-ramai parit sulung telah berlaku.
Lieutenant Ben Hackney telah membuat pengakuan di Mahkamah Antarabangsa dan kemudian barulah satu pasukan daripada Australia cuba mencari kesan ketinggalan daripada peristiwa tersebut.
KPDN bongkar store produk tiruan Grade A Petaling Street.
Tengok material dia ni, dia punya lembut dia lain, tapak dia pun lain.
Pelancong jadi sasaran, ancam reputasi negara.
Barang tiruan takkan bagi balik. Kita akan lupuskan, hancur-hancurkan, koyak-koyak, masuk mesin hancur.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kita taat kepada Allah, kita patuh atas segala perintah Allah, itulah sebenarnya ibadah. Wahai orang-orang yang beriman, kutiba alaikumusiyam, telah difardukan ke atas kamu semua berpuasa. Moga-moga kamu ni menjadi orang yang bertakwa. Bukan semua orang yang Allah pilih untuk masuk dalam bulan Ramadan.
Malaysia hari ini sepanjang minggu.
Ramadan Al-Mubarak kini kembali atur pengurusan masa, semoga amalan dan ibadah seimbang.
Kerap kencing di waktu malam, apakah punca dan rawatannya?
Isu kahwin campur dengan pasangan luar negara, cinta tanpa sepadan mengundang cabaran.
Jika berlaku insiden tercekik, ketahui teknik pertolongan cemas bagi membantu mangsa.
Bijak membeli di bulan Ramadan, atur kehendak dan keperluan.
MSI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 10 pagi, juga stream di aplikasi tonton
hanya di
TV3.
Hai Syira, kenapa harus bersangka buruk?
Mungkin kita kena lebih berhati-hati.
Apakah antara menu berbuka yang popular?
Banyak aneka lauk pauk.
Nilai adab tinggi harganya.
Semua benda perlu ada batasnya.
Soal rezeki ni kan, masih lagi ada yang tidak memahaminya.
Hakikatnya rezeki tidak hanya datang dalam bentuk wang ringgit tetapi dalam pelbagai bentuk.
Kehebatan wanita tidak perlu dipertikaikan.
Kami bawakan kepada anda Hari Wanita Antarabangsa.
Semuanya di WHI TV3
dan stream sekarang di Tonton.
Wanita hari ini.
Alhamdulillah bertemu kita sekali lagi pastinya dalam bulan Ramadan Al-Mubarak, bulan 1000 rahmat.
Pembuka Sembang Sahur musim ini ganjaran menyampaikan ilmu pada hari Rabu dan
Aboy beriah sajian dengan pelbagai menu topik budaya makan pada hari Khamis.
Jadi jangan lupa temu janji kita Sembang Sahur Rabu dan Khamis 11 malam
di TV3.
We're back with news on the foreign front. Israel blocked the entry of 8 trucks into Gaza on Sunday as a standoff over the truce that has halted fighting for the past 6 weeks escalated, with Hamas calling on Egyptian and Qatari mediators to intervene. Earlier, the Zionist regime announced that it is stopping the entry of all goods and supplies into the Gaza Strip, but did not elaborate on the decision, but warned of additional consequences if Hamas does not accept what Israel says is a United States proposal for an extension of the ceasefire. The first phase of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire, which included a surge in humanitarian assistance, expired on Saturday. The two sides have yet to negotiate their second phase, in which Hamas was to release dozens of remaining hostages in return for an Israeli pullout and a lasting ceasefire. Earlier, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said that it had adopted a proposal by US President Donald Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, for a temporary ceasefire in Gaza for the Ramadan and Passover periods, hours after the first phase of the previously agreed ceasefire expired. If agreed, the truce would halt fighting until the end of Ramadan fasting period around March 31st and the Jewish Passover holiday around April 20th. The truce would be conditional on Hamas releasing half of the living and dead hostages on the first day, with the remainder released at the conclusion if an agreement is reached on a permanent ceasefire. Hamas, however, said it is committed to the originally agreed ceasefire that had been scheduled to move into a second phase, with negotiations aimed at a permanent end to the war, and it has rejected the idea of a temporary extension to the 42-day truce. And lastly, thousands of people have been evacuated from parts of northern Japan as the country's largest wildfire in 3 decades raged unabated on Sunday after killing at least 1 person. According to authorities, the fire is estimated to have spread over 1,800 hectares of land, forcing about 2,000 people to flee areas around the northern Japan city of Ofunoto to stay with friends or relatives, while more than 1,200 were evacuated to shelters. So far, 1 burnt body has been discovered, with more than 80 buildings damaged and about 1,700 firefighters mobilized from across the country. Wraps up this edition of Nightline. Before we leave, let's take a look as Firefly Aerospace became the second US company to land on the moon with its debut Blue Ghost lander, kicking off a 2-week research mission as one of a handful of private firms to reach the front lines of a global moon race. With that, I'm Muhammed. Hamdan. Thanks for watching and stay safe.